Hello all, just an update on what I've been doing with the Haman resin kit. I'm taking it slow like I usually take things, and as you can see, I have attached the legs to the torso. This is the putty that I used, which is here, Tamiya epoxy. Basically what it does is it hardens to almost a resin-like consistency. You might be able to hear it, and I'll be able to sand that off now that it's dry. So I'll be sanding basically the legs to the point where hopefully they'll be flush, and I've tried to get some of the epoxy into the spaces where there were some casting errors. Actually, I can show the rest of that to you. The casting errors were most obvious on this cape. A lot of bubbles were at the ends, so I epoxy puttied them up, and I'll be filing them down. And top of the head, I attached the front of her, dress, shirt, something, and I'll be filing that down and sanding it to the point where it's flush again. I also attached her right arm, and I'll be removing that in order to make it flush, and a couple of repairs that were flash errors and bubbles, the fingers as well. Once I prime it, some of the bubbles that I can't see should probably appear, and there are a few on the back. If you take a really close look, you can actually see them with the naked eye. I'll prime it first, and then I'll cover those later. So I'm thinking about priming either this afternoon or next week. I left off the other arm simply because it's too close to the body, where if I were to spray it, it would cover up a lot of things. So I figured this is a lot of space. I can paint and not worry about any sort of problem. And that is about it. So probably I'll make this a two-parter. I'll just do this, prime it, fix things, file, sand, and then I'll show you what the results were. It may be several weeks after, but hey, that's the way it goes. So see you later. Peace out for now. Okay, I'm back. A few days have passed, but I have primed, and my primer of choice is the Mr. Hobby Mr. Resin Primer Surface. I use the spray can simply because I've heard some bad things about using primer in an airbrush. So that's the way I prime. Anyhow, the primer has succeeded in showing me what some of my flaws were. In particular, is this one is the most apparent. It's kind of a bubble that appeared in the resin casting, so that's got to be fixed. And I plan to fix all these little errors with Mr. White Putty. I'm changing from the epoxy putty into this because this is a lot easier just to spread out and dry fast, and I can just take care of it quickly because it's really small things. Now there's another error, which is just a filing error, and that's my fault completely. It's nothing to do with the casting, so I'll just file that out and sand it off a bit, and that should be fine. The head looks swell. There's no bubbles. Everything's good with the head. The capes swell as well. All the bubbles have been removed, and after the priming there is nothing wrong with it as well. The torso basically is okay. A few mistakes that we already knew in the back, so we'll cover some of those bubbles, and just a little bit of sanding problem with the arm attached to the torso. Well, I'll take care of that as well. So basically I'll fix those with the Mr. White Putty, and then I'm going to go into the flesh colors, which will be in particular this hand. So then after I finish with that, I can attach it here, and then I can worry about doing the rest of the body. So wish me luck, and see you very soon. Okay, several weeks later, she's primed, resanded, and reprimed, and then sanded again. I don't know if I'm going to re-prime her again, but we'll see. Anyhow, basically she's ready for painting, and that's what I will be doing next. But I think I'll just update this as a work in progress, part 2 or 3 or something. And then when I paint, I'll do another work in progress. So thanks for watching this kind of mixed thing. Anyhow, thank you. Take care. Peace. For real.